Hello, my friends. I'm B, and this is B's Intuition. Today, we're going to do a reading, and I thought it would be really fun to do what does your love life look like in the upcoming February month? Why did I word it like pretty much like what's going on with your love life in February? That's pretty much the question. I don't know why I had to word it like that. Also, before I even start, bottom of this deck, 10 of cups. Bottom of this deck, 2 of cups. I have a feeling that's probably a good omen. Also, bottom of this deck is the moth card, which represents mystery, concealment, and illusion. So maybe there's a mystery to what your love life is going to look like. Sorry if you can hear the scuffling. That's my cat in the litter box. But anyways, let's just dive right in, shall we? Please and thank you, Spirit. What does the collective's love life look like in February? Please and thank you, Spirit. What does it look like? I can't make this up. Do you want to know the first card that popped out just now? Well, it goes with that moth card. It's the moon card, which is all about those themes: mystery, concealment, and illusion. Secret admirer. You could have a secret admirer that is maybe revealing themselves to you in February. Anyways, let's keep going, see what else comes out. Please and thank you, Spirit. Please and thank you. What is the collective's love life looking like in February? Okay, thank you, Spirit. Oh, very interesting. Okay, well then. So, we have the moon card, of course. 9 of swords. The King of Pentacles. The Hierophant. And then bottom of the deck, we have the 4 of Wands. Another good omen. So it feels like there's a bit of mystery and anxiety, but something very serious and steady at the same time. What? Okay, let's just dive into clarification, shall we? Starting with that moon card. Please and thank you, Spirit. What does the collective's love life look like in February? Please and thank you. Oh, how interesting. Okay. What is this moon card all about? Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm just going to roll with it. Those are the cards that they gave us. Those are the cards that they gave us. Something is changing, is what I feel. I feel like there's some sort of maybe a dramatic shift in your love life. So clarifying that moon card, what came out is the 7 of Wands in the reverse, as well as the Chariot card in the reverse, and the Lovers card coming in the reverse. And then we have upright the 6 of Swords and the 6 of Cups. Bottom of the deck, though, 8 of Wands, which could be forward movement or a conversation. This is a very interesting energy to me, because it speaks of like something not being in alignment, or maybe there's fear. Oh, maybe you're afraid of something not working out. Could be with a particular person. Yeah, the 7 of Wands in the reverse, Chariot in the reverse, Lovers in the reverse. This may even speak to some sort of sense of insecurity within you. I wonder if this next month is going to be kind of triggering for you in terms of emotions and how you feel about yourself, especially if you're single. But the thing is, like the moon card, like I said, very similar energy to that moth card. There's a part of illusion being a part of it. So, it's kind of like when things are in darkness and we can't see them, sometimes we create storylines in our brain that may or may not, and typically they're not very realistic to the situation. So, the Seven of Wands, this could even speak to like your efforts being thwarted. Thwarted? Yeah. Like your efforts being, like, they didn't go the way that you thought they would. Oh, I think I see something here. Okay. So I think that you're typically, when it comes to love, okay. So maybe when you're typically in love, you embody these energies upright. And so typically you're somebody that really fights to win over the people that you like or love or have that romantic connection with. You may be the one that usually charges forward to express yourself to them. You're pretty fearless with that. And then the lovers, you're not afraid to like call it like it is when you feel these feelings for someone. It's almost like you're pretty no nonsense, is what I feel. You kind of are just like, okay, I like that person. I have picked them out to be the person that I like and want to go after. And so, therefore, I'm going to try and impress them. I'm going to try and go forward to express myself to them and show them what I'm, willing to do to step up to the plate to impress this person. And then also with the lover's card, it could be, yeah, making those active choices to put yourself into alignment with that person. And maybe you're also like somebody that uses words like soulmate, and you're not really afraid of like labeling something like that. And that could kind of go back to maybe your spirituality. Maybe that's a part of it. Also, for major arcana signs, we have Cancer, Pisces, and Gemini. But I think maybe this is what the moon card's talking about. I think you're shaking things up here. I think that you are actively changing your story and the way that you choose to go after soulmates or people that like pique your interest. And so that would explain the reversal of these cards. I feel like you may feel like there is somebody that you feel like would be a perfect soulmate for you, at least. They don't have to be a perfect person, right? But typically, when you feel that sensation, you want to give it your all. But I feel like you're taking a back seat intentionally because doing all of the work in the past of bringing together a connection, that may have led you down a bad path. You may even feel like you kind of have to, like, and this is going to sound dramatic, but like in a way, you kind of feel like you have to convince people maybe that you're a good option, or this is how you felt in the past. You may even have felt like, yeah, this sense of like needing to prove yourself to the other person. and maybe even slightly trying to force love to happen. I don't think that was a conscious thing. I think it was definitely subconscious, but you could feel, or you could have felt very insecure. And so you're like, okay, well, I gotta, prove my worth to this person. I have to, present a good case for them. But I feel like you're not doing that this time around. And that could actually be changing your story, which, if you had a bad past in terms of relationships, and all of those past relationships were, you embodying this energy, putting in all the effort, expressing yourself openly, that in the past may have been used against you. Although these are wonderful qualities to have, somebody that's not afraid to go after they want, hell yeah. Not afraid to make maybe difficult or even embarrassing maybe choices, being vulnerable. These are wonderful qualities to have, but I think that you're used to, like, when you embody that energy, you could attract people that want to take advantage of your kindness, want to take advantage of the fact that you are somebody that's not afraid to put in the work, somebody that's not afraid to sort of sell yourself to the other person. And yeah, because egotistical people probably would take advantage of this sort of energy, especially people that want to feel wanted. And they want that constant feedback of like, oh, look at my partner, like scrambling to, make everything work. And I'm just over here chilling. That must be, an indication that I'm the best person ever. In reality, it's just that you're a wonderful person and you're always giving your best in every situation. But like I said, it probably was misused in the past, used against you, used in a way that did not fulfill you, and may have led to a lot of chaotic relationships. Because if you think about it, if you're starting out a relationship and one person is putting in all the effort, that's kind of setting the stage for a relationship that only one person is putting in the effort, you know? And maybe you're realizing something like this. You're like, okay, well, if it hasn't served me before, maybe there's a reason, and maybe I need to change something here. And it kind of goes into this Six of Swords energy, which is all about moving away from the chaotic past towards a calmer future. And it's like, if you're embodying the Seven of Wands, Chariot, Lovers in the reverse, where you're not doing that, where you're not putting in all the effort, you're not the one that's, the first to express themselves, you're not the first to, like all of that you're so used to doing. It feels like that's going to change your story and the way that it plays out. And I almost feel like you may find, and maybe this is even a little bit surprising to you, that you don't have to embody this go-getter energy if you want to be with someone. I think that you're probably somebody that's not used to other people putting in that effort. And so you think, oh, I just have to do it all if I can't rely on someone else to do it. But I feel like the right kind of person may come along and show you that maybe it's okay when you aren't the only one putting in the effort, and that there are people out there that will put in just as much effort as you usually do. But it feels like you're making some sort of active decision to do things differently this time around. And I think that that is changing your story. So we have that Six of Swords, which is moving away from the chaotic past towards a calmer future. I think you may even start to attract much calmer connections if you're used to chaos, if you're used to like maybe egotistical people, maybe narcissists. I feel like you're setting yourself up for a very different future. And if your past was very negative, this future is going to be a lot better. And then that Six of Swords was followed by the Six of Cups, double sixes, by the way. So maybe that's a a number. If you see it repeating, maybe it means something for you. Could also just be spirit being like, I'm proud of you if you see repeating sixes, because that to me shows me that like you're actually putting in the effort here, um, into shifting that mindset around relationships. But the Six of Cups, it's so interesting because it's this person giving to this little child here. But if you think about, because the Six of Cups can be a card of nostalgia or remembering somebody very fondly. And I think that everybody remembers you as this giving character. Everybody expects this out of you at this point. And so I think you're shifting it around so that you can finally be in the receiving energy. You could definitely be a feminine. You don't have to be, but if you've been in your masculine energy for so long and it hasn't been working out for you, that masculine energy being that sort of go-getter energy when it comes to love, you may be embodying more so that divine feminine where you're just kind of relaxed. You're not really trying to make anything happen. You're not forcing this person to see you in a certain way. Yeah, you're just choosing to do things differently and be more reserved, perhaps, less clingy if that was something that you struggled with, or less codependent as well. It honestly feels like, especially because you're not, you know, trying to convince this person of anything, there's a sense of like self security and being very secure within yourself. Like you kind of already know your value. So there's, you see that there's no point to convincing someone else of your value. Either they're going to see it or they won't. And if they're the right person, they will. And so I think that you are definitely shifting this around for yourself. And I think it's going to lead to a good outcome for you. But the moon card would indicate that maybe, for one, you could be deciding all of this in private, which, you know, kind of feels that way, that you would come to this realization of like, oh, you know what, maybe I should change doing that and see how it works. And so maybe it's even slightly a bit of an experiment on your end where it's like, you know, I have feelings for this person, but I'm not going to chase after them like I usually do. I'll just see how things play out. Um, and it may lead to a very beautiful outcome in which you are receiving finally, if you've been the only person to ever give in these types of connections. And I don't think like, and I don't want this to come across as like you're not putting in any effort. I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think that you're going to be suddenly no longer like giving to these situations and, you know, just sitting back, relaxing, letting the other person do everything while you do nothing. No, I think that you're going to, it's almost like you want to see somebody make that investment first before you do. And I actually think that that's a good idea. Because especially when you're chasing after somebody that maybe you don't even know that well yet, how do you know that that person is worthy of your time, your effort, your experience, your everything that makes you valuable as a partner? You have no idea if that person is worthy of that or not, and you're already giving them your all. And I feel like you recognize this, you see this pattern of behavior. You know, the moon card can also deal with shadow work. So maybe this is some shadow work that you've been working on. Like, okay, this is how I've been sort of subconsciously sabotaging these connections. And so if I want things to change, I have to change. And I have to change my behavior. I feel you just kind of, it's not that you're closed off to these people or cold or, you know, snippy or rude or anything like that. No, it feels more so like you just kind of are trying to embody a sense of zen, you know, being calm within yourself, calm within your life, and not feeling like you need love or that you need to prove your worth to people. You may even be kind of more focused even on yourself, giving back to yourself, giving back to your inner child. This is beautiful energy. I actually really love this message that's coming through. I'm very proud of whoever is doing this because this is a big deal. And I think You're going to see something change quite dramatically in your love life because you have decided, like, there's so many things to admire about this process because you have identified an issue. You've identified how you have played into an issue in your life, a reoccurring pattern of behavior, maybe. And not only have you grown this awareness, but you have taken the time to process this and the impact that it has had on you. And you're actively choosing, like, no, I'm going to change that. And even if it is just an experiment, you really don't have anything to lose from embodying this sort of energy. Um, and it shows you who is willing to step up to the plate to impress you for once. Because maybe you're so used to impressing other people, nobody's ever made the effort to impress you. And you deserve to be impressed too. You deserve to receive just as much as you give. Yeah. But it feels like this sense of a huge shift, a lot more clarity, and a lot more self valuing. You recognize your worth, you recognize your value. And so you're not going to be trying to perform for these people. You're kind of like, well, if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. Why would I stand around trying to convince you that I'm worthy? Why would I stand around trying to convince you that I'm fun and worth pursuing and, you know, trying to prove your worth, trying to prove that you are a worthy companion, which the right person is going to be able to see that within you. You're not going to have to prove it to the person that's truly meant for you, right? Yeah. I actually really love this energy. It's actually really sweet because I see, like, not only are you changing the way you respond to maybe this crush that you have or this person that you feel a connection with, but you're also focusing on yourself as well, and maybe even reflecting on your past. This is all just really good internal work. I'm very proud of you for doing this. This is not something that everyone does. This is not something that probably a lot of people do. This is very rare, very special energy, and I'm very proud of you. I think you're going to see some great things take place because you are embodying this energy. You may even be surprised. And I think it's definitely going to rewrite your story. Yeah. And then with the Eight of Wands at the bottom of the deck, for one, that could definitely be incoming communication, maybe from this person. Maybe they're going to try and make that effort where it's like, okay, they're coming in trying to impress you, trying to make a good case for themselves instead of it being the other way around. But it also, this Eight of Wands could be indicating that, especially after making these choices, no longer going about relationships like you once did, you could be seeing a lot more growth, a lot more forward movement in your life, in your romantic love life too. And maybe this affects other parts of life too, especially if you've been somebody that's kind of embodied that energy of like, oh, I kind of need to prove my worth here. Maybe that's being applied not just to love, but maybe other things too. And I think you're going to see, like, oh, I never really had to prove myself in the first place. I never really had to do all of that to impress the right person. But yeah, I feel like that something's going to be going forward. Either this is going to be your own progress, or this could be some sort of communication here. Let's see what's underneath. Two of Pentacles. So you could be finding your life being much more balanced. It honestly, yeah. I feel like this is sort of clearing the way for something to be much more balanced. So not only your life, but like the connection. Yeah, because it's like you're no longer being the one that's, from the get go, just putting in all the effort and not really expecting anything in return. That may open you up for more mutually beneficial relationships. more balanced give and take relationships, especially because you're not starting it on that note of like, don't worry, I'll do everything. Yeah. And I feel like this is like the way, the path. Spirit's proud of you, I think, because this feels like the right next step to do in your journey. I'm just curious what's underneath that. Two of Pentacles, Page of Swords. Ooh. So either you're observing someone and you're keeping a distance, or somebody has their eye on you and they may be waiting for the right moment to make their presence known. But I also feel like the Page of Swords is somewhat of an observer. So I wonder if somebody may even be kind of observing you to answer certain questions that they have about you, about how you live your life, who you are as a person. I feel like, yeah, it definitely could be indicating that somebody's intrigued by you at the very least. And maybe they're intrigued by this new energy that you're embodying. Because it is a page, I doubt that it's an X. It could be. So I don't think that they know this past version of yourself. But maybe you're showing up in this very confident, like silent but deadly sort of energy, and it's making an impact. And maybe because it's so rare for somebody to embody that sort of confidence, this person could be kind of blown away by that. Like, who is that person? Because I don't see that kind of energy every day. They may actually be impressed that you're embodying this energy because it's so rare. Yeah. Very interesting. I really like that part of the reading, though. I hope that the rest of the reading goes just as good because, like, that is beautiful energy. Beautiful. Okay, let's go on to the Nine of Swords and see what that's about. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is the collective's love life going to look like in February with that Nine of Swords? Please and thank you, Spirit. What's that Nine of Swords indicating? Indicating for the collective. What's going on? Ooh. How interesting. Would you look at that? Okay, anyways. Oh. Okay, so Nine of Swords clarified by the Three of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, the Devil, Knight of Cups, and then we have Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Wands. So repeating eights, repeating sixes. And then, bottom of the deck, we have the Two of Cups. Ooh, ooh la la. Okay. This is telling me a little bit of your backstory. So you've been hurt in relationships, probably, but maybe more than just romantic relationships. Many different types of connections with others have led to this feeling of betrayal, pain. People haven't been very kind to you. And we're clarifying the Nine of Swords which is a card of anxiety, but I also sometimes see it as like the after results of trauma, like PTSD, flashbacks, negative thought patterns, expecting the worst out of situations, like all of those things that come with experiencing trauma and then the lingering impact that that trauma has on your brain. Maybe it's something even like night terrors. You lose sleep because of this, or you don't have very restful sleep because of recovering from past trauma, potentially. But But it's very beautiful because the Seven of Pentacles would indicate that you started to rebuild from this place of pain. You definitely did not just accept this pain as being like, okay, this is my reality now. I'm just always going to be in pain. I'm always going to be suffering. But this Seven of Pentacles feels like a choice to invest into yourself, into your life, to make investments that you're actually proud of. There's also a part to the Seven of Pentacles which has to do with patience. Maybe you've been more patient with yourself, more patient with this process of rebuilding yourself, rebuilding your life. Also, like this sensation of maybe waiting for the right one, because this is a love reading. So maybe you've even actively made that decision that you're going to start taking these types of connections slower. You're going to let them sort of naturally grow, or kind of allow them to play out however they're supposed to. And you're also like patient with this process. You're not trying to rush anything. But yeah, this feels good. This feels like you made the active choice to invest into yourself, into your life, and invest into the things that are worth it. And then the Devil follows that. So it's like, while you're trying to work on yourself, while you're trying to invest into good things, maybe that was when your shadow like kind of popped up and was bothering you for a bit. I might actually clarify this Devil card, unless it comes to me throughout this part of the reading, because for some reason it doesn't feel like that big of a deal with these other cards being around. Like, and I don't mean that in terms of like it didn't impact you deeply or upset you or anything like that, but rather this wasn't a big obstacle for very long, is what I feel. Which is interesting because it's the Devil, it's a major arcana, so it doesn't really always give that sort of energy of like not being a big deal. So I think I will clarify that. Yeah, if I don't get the whole storyline. Major arcana though for Capricorn. Yeah. And then that Devil card is followed by the Knight of Cups. I wonder if like, oh, we are clarifying the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords could definitely be part of that Devil. You know, those shadowy, lingering things that just don't serve you, but they're very much active in your mind. You know, this is actually kind of sweet in a way, because it kind of even gives this energy of like an angel, like an angel coming into your life when you're at like, when you're not in such a good place. Somebody like reaching out a hand of comfort, offering compassion, caring. This is so interesting. So maybe even when you're actively still healing, actively still trying to rebuild yourself, actively still fighting with your shadow self, somebody comes in with so much kindness. And it doesn't even have to be specifically romantic love, but that could definitely be a part of it. Okay, I'm getting the message now. This could be somebody that's going to show up into your life to prove to you that you are lovable even when you're in your darkest moment or darkest mindsets, or when you're struggling with really heavy things, that you're just as lovable as when you are bubbly, when you're positive, when you know, are up. This is somebody that, oh my gosh, So whether this is a friend or something more, this is just going to be somebody that shows up with unconditional love for you. And I say that, within reason. Of course, I'm sure that, you know, if this person's a healthy person, they probably will have boundaries within that, but overall, very unconditional love is what I feel. And like, even when you feel like you're the ugliest version of yourself, and I don't mean physically, but maybe physically, we all have those off days where we don't feel very good about ourselves. But like, you could look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, I hate what I see in the mirror. Or you could just be noticing these mindsets or depressive thoughts. And you're like, oh my God, I hate that my brain does that. But it's like, even when you're at your lowest, at your darkest, I feel like this person is going to show you that every single part of you is lovable. And there's not, bro, this is making me a little bit emotional. Um, that you don't need to hide these dark moments or these moments of discomfort, these moments of like facing your shadow, these moments of, because we all have those moments, right? When our shadows come to the surface, no matter how much we've worked on ourselves, how much progress we've made in our own journeys, there's always going to be that shadow part to ourselves. And it's going to sometimes come up in unhealthy ways. That's kind of what a shadow is, right? But this person is going to show you so much compassion and love for the beast within you. And that is something that you may have never experienced in your whole life, maybe. And maybe within specifically romantic relationships. But this is somebody that is, and it's beautiful too, because like, as we were picking up in the last part of this reading, it seems like you have some sense of self love, self valuing, self worth. So you've clearly worked on yourself. I don't see you as being somebody that hates yourself by any means. But this person is going to be a very calm, reassuring presence in your life. And you may have thought that the only way you would be lovable, the only way you would be a good catch on the dating market was if you presented only your good qualities, good quotation marks, your lighter aspects. But this is somebody that wants to see everything. It's honestly giving me a little bit of like a Scorpio energy with that Knight of Cups, because I don't know. The Devil card has that like darker aesthetic, kind of gives me that feeling of Scorpio energy. Um, like it's almost like, and this isn't just to say like that they are a Scorpio, but maybe there's like some sort of Scorpionic energy in their birth chart, perhaps, but or maybe it's just simply their vibe. They kind of have that energy to them, whether they are Scorpio or not. But it's almost like the only, well, I don't want to say the only, but like the type of person to not be afraid of that darkness, the type of person that would not be afraid of that would actively, um and it's not that they would encourage your dark side, or that they would play into those parts of you that you realize are an issue, but rather just prove that you're still worthy, you're still lovable. And I feel like the type of person that would face that devil within another person, not feel afraid, would be a Scorpio. Because Scorpios, they know dark, they know darkness, they know depth. They're very intense people, typically, Scorpios. But they are, I would say that they're probably one of the signs that probably has to do with a lot of shadow work. Like I feel like a Scorpio specifically, At least the Scorpios that I've met in my life, they typically like, it's almost a part of their life story is to face their demons. I feel like a Scorpio would not be afraid to dive deeply into another person and be face to face with that devil within and be like, I don't care. I'm not afraid. I still love you. That's making me so emotional. Oh, that's beautiful. So, this is kind of funny in a way because it's like this person may come in when you're at your lowest or when you are struggling. And that is not a place that we typically think that we're going to be when we bump into a romance or the love of our life or a soulmate or whatever. Or even just, a friendship that lasts the test of time. Like, you know, I think it's going to be very surprising that it's almost like this person is definitely going to show up like a light in the darkness, but it's almost like when your life feels like you may even feel like your life's falling apart or you can't get a grip or you just keep spiraling. It's almost like when you least expect it, you're kind of struggling, you're kind of going through it, suddenly this angel appears and turns things around for you in some way that you did not see coming. And again, it's not that this person is building up all of your confidence and that you're dependent on this person for validation or boosting your confidence, because I think you've already worked on your confidence and your self-worthiness. But this person's definitely going to take it to another level of self-love. Like this person's going to reflect back to you everything that is super lovable about you. Even those raw moments, even those shadowy moments. This feels like somebody that accepts you just as you are. You don't have to do anything. Um, well, you still have to work on yourself, of course. We all do, to be the best version of ourselves possible, right? But you don't have to change for this person. You don't have to try and impress this person, which, if we remember the beginning of this reading, that kind of fits perfectly into that narrative. Is like, this is the type of person you're going to attract when you're not trying to impress another person so that they're, so that they choose you or that they, this is kind of cool in that way to see it kind of develop. Yeah. Like you've made some serious choices and um, started to act differently. And so this relationship that's coming in is probably going to be so much different, way different than anything you've experienced before. And I think that's going to be a good thing, but very surprising, especially in the way that this person comes into your life. You don't see this coming. You just don't. And again, like it could literally be that this person comes into your life when you're at your lowest, or maybe not your lowest, because I feel like you've probably gone through some stuff in your past that has been pretty, you know, knocked you down pretty low. But you may be just actively struggling. We all have those moments, right? Even the most healed of us have moments where we're struggling, especially mental health wise. And so this person comes in and is like, everything that you are, I love. It's really so sweet. It's very divine as well, because I do believe that spirit loves us unconditionally. Um, so it does have that angel energy to it. Maybe you will see this person as your little angel, especially if you develop something from the point of them coming into your life. If you develop something into either long-term friendship or relationship. But this is definitely a keeper. This is definitely a person that has a very pure soul, pure intentions. Yeah. Um, beautiful, beautiful energy. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles. So maybe they even work with, oh my gosh, maybe they work with you. Well, so maybe you know this person through your career, or you will maybe meet this person through your career. That could definitely be a part because the Eight of Pentacles there, but it also could be maybe this person, and maybe it's not even directly, maybe it's simply by being around this person, they help you. Maybe they help you to love your shadow a little bit more. They help you to love those imperfections within you. You know, all of those things that either society or people in your life have told you are unlovable, unlikable, you know, too weird, too whatever. This could be somebody that helps you work through that. And it's going to maybe even be more impactful because it's not just you doing this work on your own. This is somebody actively helping you do that work. And again, it doesn't have to be that they're like, um, like they didn't like, um, it doesn't have to be like, they're like taking notes and, you know, um, researching techniques or whatever on the internet, or, it doesn't have to be directly that they're helping you, but maybe simply by being around this person, by simply having that be reflected back to you that you are lovable unconditionally. Simply this person's presence in your life may be enough to work through these things and maybe help you to build some sense of stability in your life, in yourself. And the Eight of Pentacles is a lot about, you start out not really knowing anything, but the more you practice, you gain mastery over this skill. So maybe this person helps you to become a master of self-love. And again, this feels like it's going to be so surprising for you. And maybe it's even that this person helping you, because maybe it is a conscious thing where this person's like, hey, I want to help you love yourself more. That could always be a thing. But more so than that, it's like, yeah, I think that's what I was getting at. Is like, you're not used to people showing up in your life to give to you. You're not used to people showing up into your life to help you. And I almost feel like you are typically that person, to be that helper, to be that support for others. And it almost even feels like with the Eight of Pentacles and Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands could definitely be indicating a conversation, which I feel like you're definitely going to have at least one conversation with this Knight of Cups. So that could definitely be a part of this. But more so than that, it's like when you have this new sense of stability within yourself, security within yourself, you may notice that things start to flow much easier for you. You start to see more forward motion in your life. You start to see how things are turning around in a very positive way when you start to love yourself entirely, even those dark parts of yourself, even those unflattering parts of yourself. So it's almost like this person is going to be serving a bigger purpose than just being a partner or just being a friend or a confidant. It's like this person may actually help you to become more successful, help you to help your life either get on track or improve. There's something very important about this connection here. And it's serving something bigger than just being a partner, than just being a friend. This is somebody that's going to help you in ways that you cannot foresee. I feel like this is the kind of connection, whether friendship or something romantic, You're going to like look back on you're going to look back on this story between the two of you and be like, "Damn, what are the odds?" Or like, "Damn, I'm so grateful to have you in my life because if I didn't meet you like 5 years ago, I would never be blah blah blah." So, that's beautiful. It really feels like this person's coming into your life for, well, for a purpose, but I think it's almost like multiple purposes, truly. They're going to be a great support, but they're also going to help you improve, go forward, maybe move with more confidence as well. They could be a voice of reassurance, especially in those moments of anxiety where your mind may be playing tricks on you. This person could maybe help you to get out of that, start to be more realistic, or start to be like more in touch with reality. Like, no, that's just your brain saying that you're unworthy. You're actually awesome, you know? And then that Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Reciprocal energy, romantic energy, that reciprocal relationship. And again, could be romance, could be friendship, but with the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck, I mean, it's kind of looking a little bit more romantic. But because this person makes such a deep impact in your life, I feel like this is somebody that, even if you're not together romantically, you would love to be this person's friend because clearly they are a very beautiful soul. They have very pure intentions. And there's something very useful about them being in your life. But yeah, I feel like the two of you feel feelings for each other, or you will, when this person comes into your life. And I also feel like this sense of like, that may be another part of it being kind of shocking, is like, I've never had somebody show up with this amount of care and attention, and because it just seems like this person just has their eye on you, like their unwavering attention, like they are focused on you, they pay attention to you, which all of this sounds probably very like obvious, like of course a partner will do that, but not every partner does. And I feel like this is going to be somebody that you will feel how much this person cares about you. Maybe vice versa as well. I see just two very pure hearts being in the same room together, like in that, becoming something. Just a lot of healing is possible. But okay, that's kind of that's cute. Because we did have that message earlier of you working on your inner child, or maybe trying to feed your inner child in a positive way. I wonder if this is going to be healing for your inner child as well. That sense of like somebody sees you, like truly who you are, and somebody like truly cares. Somebody truly, like, I don't know how to explain it, but maybe that's something that you craved in your childhood that you never really got, was that sense of somebody really seeing you, sense of somebody truly supporting you and wanting to support you. And here this person comes, and I feel like this is exactly what you need, probably exactly when you need it. So this is beautiful. Let's see what's underneath that Two of Cups. The World. Fixed signs, so Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio. I like that. And that is very fitting because the World card is about closing out those old toxic cycles, opening new, healthier cycles, more higher vibration cycles. And so get ready for a new chapter in which it's so unlike anything you've experienced before. And it's all meant to happen like this. You could literally be in disbelief at some points where you're like, how did I get this lucky? Or like, what are the odds that I met this person? Like, what are the odds that, this developed into this? But it's going to feel like a completely different story, completely different narrative, because it's going to be completely different from the things that you've experienced before in a very positive way. And I feel like you're going to sense Spirit's hand in this. I'm curious what's underneath that World card. Knight of Swords. This could be coming in sooner than you realize. Well. So incoming communication could be coming in sooner than you realize from this person, or this person's going to be coming into your life very suddenly. You don't see it coming. The two of you are probably going to be really good at communication. You may even, maybe the both of you are kind of like chatterboxes. You both like to talk, or maybe it's about specific things. You could have very similar interests. Maybe that's another way you kind of hit it off. But yeah, this is some big stuff. I love this. Okay, let's go into this King of Pentacles. Clarify that, please, and thank you, Spirit. Can you clarify this King of Pentacles as to how is the collective love life going to look in February? Please, and thank you, Spirit. In relation to this King of Pentacles, let's see. Clarifying that King of Pentacles for the collective, please, and thank you, Spirit. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, maybe a little bit much for cards, but that's fine. You can never have too many cards. Anyways, clarifying that King of Pentacles, we have the Three of Cups, the Hierophant, major for Taurus, Ace of Wands, and then we have the Hanged Man, the Two of Wands, the Four of Wands, the Three of Wands, lots of wands, yeah. And then the bottom of the deck, we have the World card again. So fixed signs, Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Beautiful. I mean, because the World card is at the bottom of the deck, I'm inclined to think that this could be the same person as that Knight of Cups we just saw. So maybe also Pisces for the Hanged Man. But so they could be coming into your life as a Knight of Cups, like this angel. And not to say that they're a literal angel, but maybe. But you're definitely going to see them in a very high light, I think, especially with the timing and everything. But so they may be coming in that Knight of Cups energy, but in reality, they may be a boss in their own right. They may have stuff going on in them, around them, that very much prove to you instantly or very quickly that this person has it going on to some extent. Either they're secure within themselves, they're stable within themselves, within their life, they have a sense of maybe financial security, abundance. So it's like they have things going for them, like in terms of like them being a very good catch. So maybe that's even going to play a part in all of this. Like, wow, how did I get so lucky? Like, where did you come from almost? Like, did you just drop from the sky one day? Like, what the heck? And the Three of Cups being the first card to come out to clarify, this could definitely be somebody in your community, in your friendship groups potentially, or maybe you meet this person through a friend. Also, the two of you may start out as friends by simply just talking, getting to know one another. The Hierophant. So this person could be a little bit traditional, maybe in terms of like their spirituality, maybe they're religious. But the Hierophant can also be an indicator that this person sees long term with you. They could see you being their forever person potentially. With the Ace of Wands. Oh. So the Ace of Wands They may be very attracted to you. So maybe that's even a part of it. But interesting how the Ace of Wands came after the Hierophant, as if it's not just physical attraction here. They see something with you. So it's almost like the Two of Cups energy that we saw at the bottom of the deck before, which is all about that reciprocal energy. Maybe the both of you kind of see each other as blessings. So it's not just you admiring this person, or not just you admiring this person, but this person also admiring you. Maybe you also came into this person's life in divine timing and they're like, wow, what are the odds? So maybe it's kind of like this, like, kind of reflect this back to one another potentially. Oh, interesting. I'm getting, okay. So the Ace of Wands then followed by the Hanged Man. So they may actually be, okay, so they could get startled either with the idea that they're already thinking about long-term commitment with you and maybe they don't know you very well yet. But they also could maybe be triggered that they're so attracted to you. And this causes them to go into Hanged Man mode to reflect upon this potentially. They're just like, okay, am I insane? Is this maybe inappropriate depending on the context? This is somebody very thoughtful, very reflective, though. I like this. This is somebody that's very much self-aware and they're able to self-reflect. And I think that those are very valuable qualities to have in a partner or just simply in anyone. So, a lot of maturity, I feel, with this person. They may even have a lot of wisdom with that Hierophant. They may be mature for their age, or like what's that word? Phrase? An old soul. Maybe they're an old soul. Maybe they're younger than how they look, how they act, like the information that they contain could be like, oh wow, like you're very knowledgeable. But they are going to take a step back at some point to reflect upon this. I feel like they may be specifically triggered that they're very attracted to you because maybe this is somebody that prides themselves on being very unshakable. So they're not really used to people affecting them to this extent, is what I want to say. So this could be a trigger for them and causing them to take a step back, like, whoa, where did this attraction come from? Like, is it appropriate for me to have these feelings? Is this going to cause conflict? Like, there's so many things to, reflect upon here. But the good thing about the Hanged Man is, like, once you go into the Hanged Man mode and you do that self-reflection and you kind of are trying to, look at things, you eventually start to see things from a different point of view. So the energy that you typically go into Hanged Man mode is typically different than how you exit Hanged Man mode. So it almost feels like this person wants to maybe dive within themselves to be like, okay, what does this mean that I'm already seeing a future with them? I'm very attracted to them. Like, what does all of this mean? And they also may feel, yeah, especially if the two of you start out as friends or just like being a part of each other's community, this person could even think that it's one-sided potentially, that they are the ones with these feelings. They are the ones that, or they are the one that are having these dreams of the future. And maybe that they are the only one that's attracted to the other here in this way. But it's very interesting too, because we go from the Ace of Wands, Hanged Man, and then the Two of Wands. Let me show what that looks like. We have the Ace of Wands, Hanged Man, Two of Wands. So what this is looking like to me, they start Hanged Man mode thinking, okay, I'm probably the only one attracted to the other person here. They exit Hangman mode and maybe they find out that you're just as attracted to them as they are to you. And then that shifts things, because then we go from the Two of Wands to the Four of Wands and the Three of Wands. Now they can, it's like, oh, that's kind of sweet. I'm getting this energy of like, oh, this is so sweet. So maybe if they felt like guilty before for having fantasies or whatever, they kind of like, this is so cute. This is somebody that really respects you, because it almost feels like once they once they have, some sort of idea that you are also equally as attracted as they are, and that maybe you have fantasies about this person too, um, then it's almost like, okay, I can have these fantasies. It's almost like they want, it's so cute because it's almost like they want your consent to fantasize about you. Oh my gosh, this person's very adorable. Very pure heart. Oh my gosh, very pure intentions. See, this is the energy that you cannot fake. I feel like you're going to be able to tell who this person is, because I don't think this person, eh, I was going to say that I don't think this person has one deceitful bone in their body. But I think, sometimes deception and deceit can sometimes happen on a subconscious level, or humans always kind of have that. There's always that room for that possibility. So I don't want to say completely that, this person's never going to lie or never going to do anything bad, but maybe it's even like you bring out this person's truth, this person's, like, maybe it's like that saying that people say when they get into a relationship with like their soulmate. It's like, what is it? It's usually like along the lines of something like, I like who I am when I'm with you. Um, and there's also that part of like, um, you bring out the best in me, or you're my better half potentially. Like, there's something here about they like how you make them feel, or they like who they are around you. Yeah. Um, and it's very interesting, because then that Four of Wands to Three of Wands, this gives the energy of like, not only are they fantasizing about a future now, but they may be actively planning for that future now. Especially once they know that you have the same feelings, that you are also attracted to them, that you see a possible future here, just like they do. Because maybe they thought that they were crazy. Maybe they thought that they were being delusional, or, maybe they thought that they were the devil energy, that energy of being obsessed with someone. But maybe this is an equally obsessed connection. You're both obsessed with each other, and very much reciprocal energy. That's actually really cute. So I think that this person's going to start looking towards the future much more optimistically, especially once they get that information, that you return those feelings, that you feel the same way, that you also see the things that they see as being possible here. And maybe it's more so not even just them planning for their future now, but the two of you both planning for your futures together. I feel like there's definitely a desire for union here, but it goes much more deeper than just spicy stuff. It's so much more than that. I like it. I really like that. And then the World card. So it's like you're opening a whole new chapter with this person. And it's probably going to be very different than what you're used to. I wonder if that may be triggering for you. But then again, maybe you've worked on yourself so much that maybe at one point this kind of energy would have triggered you, but maybe you've healed a lot. And maybe this is coming in the perfect timing, where you're no longer self-sabotaging these types of healthier connections. Also, like, I think that there's something very adorable and sweet about this person that I feel like you kind of can't resist. It's almost like, okay, how can I possibly like um not like you or like, you know, be offended by you or something. I don't know. Just like, aw. Definitely the type of person that you want to keep around anyways. um let's see what's underneath that world card. Two of Cups. Okay, we saw that before. So yeah, this is a reciprocal energy. And maybe once they get that confirmation that you return the feelings, then suddenly the two of you are in your own little world, planning for a future that maybe you never planned for before with anyone else. You start to work as a unit, but maybe you both, it feels healthy though. I feel like you both kind of maintain your own personalities, but you come together to work as one. If that makes any sense. I'm just going to see what's underneath that Two of Cups. Death card, transformation. But that feels like either the two of you transform through this connection, like it's so impactful that the two of you will never be the same again in a very positive way. Or maybe this is because you've worked on yourself. Maybe this person has worked on themselves too. I think probably because they feel very mature here. Um, but maybe because you both worked on yourselves before this came together. And so that put you in the right alignment to attracting this kind of connection. But either way, there's change afoot here. And I think, it could simply be that this is going to be a completely different lifestyle, a completely different connection than what you've experienced before. Also, major for Scorpio, the death card there. Okay, let's go into the Hierophant. Please and thank you, Spirit. Can you clarify this Hierophant? What is the collective love life going to look like in February? Please and thank you, Spirit. With that Hierophant card, please and thank you. Okay. I thought that there was one that flipped inside the deck. Where is it? Where is it? Did it not? Maybe it fell out. Okay. Okay. Was there one that flipped? Yeah, there was one that flipped, you silly goober. Okay. Oh, yes, this was the first one that flipped. Okay. Alrighty, so clarifying that Hierophant, we have the Knight of Wands, the Seven of Cups, the Five of Wands, and the King of Cups. And then bottom of the deck, we have Three of Pentacles. Alrighty. Repeating fives could also be a thing because I see the five on the Hierophant, and then the Five of Wands falls directly underneath it. So double fives could definitely be a thing. So we're clarifying the Hierophant, so that's Taurus. This feels interesting. I don't know if I would go so far as to say that this is a different person's energy. Could be, though. But then how would that link with the Hierophant? Maybe something to do with a lesson. And then if this is a different energy, the Knight of Wands may be a bit of a red flag because the Knight of Wands has a reputation as being a player. But the thing is, I don't always see it as being necessarily a player. I think it's probably just somebody that wants to be flirty, wants to impress you, wants to like let you know, like, hey, I dig your vibe. It feels like somebody here is afraid of competition or afraid of the idea or the fact that you have a lot of options. But the thing is, the energy I was picking up on before was like so mature, so grounded, so stable. I mean, it's possible that maybe this just brings up a lot of fear for this person, seeing that other people want you potentially. But I don't think the King of Pentacles would be somebody to get really competitive like that. You know, the King of Pentacles is always ready for a fight, but I don't think that, I don't know, that just seems a little petty to me. I don't really associate the King of Pentacles with this sort of, oh no, what if somebody else comes along and snatches this person up? Which, you know, I think we all have that fear when we really like someone and we're like really attracted to them and we're like, oh my gosh, you know, what if somebody else comes along and snaps them up? But the thing is, the connection I was picking up on between the two of you was just so intense, so pure, so real. Also, that feeling of really good communication. So I don't really think this is this person's energy. It feels too different. This could be somebody that you work with. Oh, maybe that's what the Hierophant is indicating. Yeah, okay. So maybe this is somebody that you work with. Maybe they're seen typically as a leader of some sort or somebody in a position of power, because the Hierophant and then the King of Cups. So this could be somebody that's a boss in their own right, but they're showing up being flirty. But they're also aware that you have options and that there's plenty of people that want to be with you. Oh, interesting. So the way I'm seeing this, I don't know if you can see it as clearly, but there's one person here with a wand facing towards this King of Cups, as if they are trying to hit this King of Cups. Maybe this King of Cups isn't the same energy as this Knight of Wands. Maybe this Knight of Wands is somebody else who's jealous of this King of Cups. And the King of Cups, if this is another person, the King of Cups is maybe even the main person we were picking up on. And then with the Hierophant, this Knight of Wands may be a little bit sneaky in the way of like, they may know that you've met someone. They may know that there's somebody better in the picture. And this person could be triggered into action. You know, that King of Wands energy, it feels like this is, I don't know why this message keeps coming through in like all of my readings recently. That there's a fire sign potentially, or somebody that's just in that fire sign sort of energy, embodying it. There may be a jealous fire sign that's jealous of somebody that's a keeper in your life. And they may be petty. They may literally, that honestly kind of makes me annoyed, because it's like, especially showing up as the Knight of Wands, because that doesn't really show a lot of depth if that's the only card to describe their intention here, or the energy that they're showing up in. It doesn't really seem like this is a person that is thinking of long term. This could just be somebody that's thinking with their you know what. And they're just upset that maybe you're no longer available, or that somebody is stealing you from them. They may feel like this weird sense of like ownership over you. And so when you no longer give them attention, you no longer talk to them in a flirtatious way, or you no longer, I don't know, you just don't talk the same way that you used to, then this person gets angry and wants to maybe sabotage this connection. But the thing is, I don't know if they're going to have that much of an impact over a King of Cups, especially if all they are, no offense to this person, but if all they are is the Knight of Wands, how are they going to square up with a king? And the Hierophant, potentially. Like, they'll just be like, sit down, son. That's the energy of the kings and Hierophant, I would say. Like they're way too experienced. They're way too mature. Like, yeah, like they're just like, okay, I'm not even gonna try and fight you, son, because like the knights are typically seen as younger than the kings. So, but in also in terms of like maturity, it could definitely be a sign of like this person that's jealous may just simply be immature, whereas the person that you are actually meant to be with, that you may actively be coming into union with, they're way more mature. And maybe it's like so obvious, and that could even trigger this person too, is like, oh, this person thinks they're better than me. Oh, they think that they're all that because they, have these things working in their favor. They may even try to spin it in a way that's like, oh, the two of you are just together because you're both attractive, or, that's all it is a superficial connection. But I don't think that is true. I think that's probably what that Knight of Wands is just telling themselves to soothe their hurt ego. Maybe this is somebody that typically has a lot of options too. It's just so weird that I've been getting this recurring message of somebody being jealous of someone else and trying to either break them up or simply trying to step into the picture where they're not really welcome. They're not really desired, especially if you're coming into union with like a soulmate. Why would you throw away that sort of connection for somebody that doesn't even think of long term, that may not even be interested in something long term? I don't know. Maybe this person's delusional and can see a future with you, but that may just be a fantasy and maybe not rooted in reality, especially if they're just a knight. They may not have the stability to plan for the future, or the mental awareness, or the self reflection, or the self awareness. Like, there could be a lot of things that this person is sort of missing. Like, they don't have certain qualities for, yeah, it's almost like they don't have the actions to back up the words that they're saying, whereas this other person does. Interesting. So maybe this will be like a little bit of drama on top of this beautiful connection. But the thing is, especially if this is all describing that main person, like from what I've seen, that kind of connection is pretty indestructible. So I think that this Knight of Wands is probably going to be wasting their time. And honestly, they might look ridiculous because it's like, really, what are you doing, dude? You really think you're better than this King of Pentacles, King of Cups? I don't think so. Maybe you even find it funny. Like, really? You want me to choose you when I have my soulmate over here? Mm. But so the Three of Pentacles could be indicating maybe this fire sign energy um, through your work, but also the Three of Pentacles can sometimes indicate third parties. And so, no way. This Knight of Wands, you've got to be kidding me. This Knight of Wands may try to be your side piece. I'm just saying. They may want to be the third party in your situation. No offense, but I feel kind of bad for this person because I do not think that they have a high self esteem. Because, like, what are you doing? Not only does this person actively live in their ego, I think that they're delusional, and maybe they overestimate their attractiveness, and maybe they just think, oh yeah, the collective wants me. The collective will want what I have to offer. And you're just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, get out of here. I'm not gonna do that. Because, like, but if this person's willing to be the side piece, that kind of makes me think, is this that kind of person's personality? Is this the type of person that would cheat in a relationship if they were given the opportunity? So you may see a lot of red flags with that Knight of Wands. I'm just saying. Also, with the Hierophant, maybe you have learned something from this Knight of Wands. Maybe you have experienced this person to some extent. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say they're an ex, but maybe they were a past situationship or something. There could have been something there, but it's almost like you learned your lesson and you closed out that door. You closed that chapter of your life because it wasn't fulfilling for you and it wasn't in your best interest. But maybe this Knight of Wands has a hard time grasping that you've moved on completely. So they want to come in and be your side piece, apparently. Let's see what's underneath that Three of Pentacles. The Star. They may be attracted to you, like because you're glowing, you're in your power, you're doing something really special with that power, you're aligned to spirit, you may be actively living your purpose. And, we were connecting with that King of Pentacles person earlier about like how your life might improve because of this person. And so maybe you're even more attractive being in this relationship with this person because this person actively feeds into you. And so you were already glowing. Yeah, you were already glowing before. But when you step into this relationship, now you're going to be a freaking beacon. You're going to be a freaking lighthouse, you know? Interesting. And so maybe this person's just like really attracted to you because it's like, oh, geez, like you look like you're just going through glow up after glow up after glow up from that person's perspective, that Knight of Wands energy. Interesting. But again, kind of gives that sense of superficiality. Like they like what they see, is kind of what I'm getting with that Star card. Even though there's something much deeper behind it, it feels like that Knight of Wands would only see the surface. And maybe that's all that matters to the Knight of Wands, I guess. I'm curious what's underneath that Star card. Nine of Cups. See, you are coming into wish fulfillment. You're coming into alignment with your destiny. And this person wants to like put a rock in your path or something. Like, like make something difficult, like make you stop from pursuing something, make you stop from going forward with your life. Yeah, they definitely want to be like a stick in your side. Is that a saying? But yeah, they just want to be a nuisance because they are jealous. Simply, it boils down to that, and they are very much in their ego, probably dominated by their ego most of the time, maybe to the point where they don't even self reflect. They may be in the dark when it comes to self awareness. Clearly. Anyways, bottom of this deck, Four of Wands, which connects back to that Four of Wands we saw earlier with that King of Pentacles. I think you definitely could be coming into union here, or at the very least, there's going to be something to celebrate in the month of February. Let's see what's underneath that Four of Wands. Queen of Cups. So maybe you're going to be in that loving vibration. Also very interesting, we have the King of Cups, Queen of Cups. So that King of Cups could definitely be the King of Pentacles, just in a different aspect. Well, something's going to make you happy. Something's going to make you feel very loving and maybe very loved in the month of February. I want to see what's underneath that. King of Swords. That could always be a different person, but I think I'm inclined to say that maybe that's just this King of Pentacles / King of Cups, just a different aspect. Maybe you're very attracted to this person's mind and the way that they communicate. I feel like communication is a big deal here for some reason for this new connection. I don't think you're used to having a healthy connection with good communication, because that feels very highlighted. Like as long as we communicate, we can work things out. Like it makes something so much easier. Like you're both not afraid. Maybe that's part of it. It's like you're both not afraid to say what you need to say. because you're both very mature, both very self-aware. Let's break out the oracle and see if there's anything to add to this reading. Please and thank you, Spirit. Anything else you want to add to this reading? Maybe advice or anything about the month of February or any guidance for the collective? Please and thank you, Spirit. Okay. So a couple did pop out. Let's see what they are. So we have potion. This represents invigoration and empowerment. Ooh. Some magic going on in the month of February. Invigoration, that feels like you're going to be reinvigorated by maybe somebody coming into your life that you don't expect. And maybe at a time where you were particularly low, and then this person comes in and you start to feel really good. Also, there's empowerment, which I think that was the beginning part of this reading. You were self-empowering yourself by making choices that serve your best interest. And maybe that's part of what attracts this person to you, is because you have empowered yourself first and foremost. Something about you being like a powerhouse, like something about, like this person admires the power behind you. I don't know exactly how to word that. It's like they see something in you that's like, you pack a punch, you like, I don't know, there's something about your vibe that they just, they love it. They love it. They want to be around it all the time. The second card that came out is So, and this represents planning, setting intentions, and optimism. So I think that that's definitely what you're going to be doing with this new person. You're going to be planning for the future. Maybe plans are going to have to shift because you find you suddenly have somebody else that you need to take into consideration when you plan for your future. Setting intention, so kind of establishing, what are we, where is this going? And then optimism. So if you've been feeling very pessimistic, doubtful, optimism may be the way to go, in terms of like, keep embodying this optimism because something may come out of it in an unexpected way. But it feels like you're sowing seeds that are going to lead to a plentiful harvest at the end. Also very funny that we ended up on the Moth card at the bottom of the deck. So as I said earlier, that represents mystery, concealment, and illusion. Interesting. There may be something a little bit like, I don't want to say secretive because it doesn't feel negative, but maybe you just keep your like relationship private with this person to avoid drama, because there's something not quite seen here. You may be somebody that likes to keep your like connections private, but it makes me think of that Knight of Wands we saw earlier. Like, how would they? Honestly, they probably just see other people paying you attention, and that could be enough for them to move into action. That Knight of Wands we saw earlier. So maybe they don't even need to have the evidence that you're in a relationship with somebody else, and maybe it's completely just ego driven, that this person wants to come towards you and impress you. But the concealment, mystery, concealment, illusion, you may choose to kind of conceal this relationship, especially if it's something really good, because you don't want other people to get involved. You don't want drama. You don't want people to try and give their 2 cents, try and sabotage it, especially when it's in its beginning stages, maybe even before you have a label. Like, why would you want to like sabotage something as it's just beginning, as it's just starting to form? These are like very important beginning stages to a relationship. So honestly, that could even be Spirit's advice, to kind of keep it on the down low, not for sketchy reasons like cheating on one another, but rather just like, not everybody needs to know all of your business, and that could actually serve you here. And it may even prevent people from trying to mess with this really beautiful, healthy connection you have going on. But anyways, that is the reading. I'm so sorry this is so long. I'm going to be very interested to see how long it's been. But, anyways, I really hope that you enjoyed this and I hope that it resonated. If it did resonate, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe, you can become a part of the Hive Collective because my name is Bee. Bees live in hives, and you can become an honorary bee like me, and we can be a little bee family together. If you like my readings and you'd like to see more, be sure to click that bell icon down below so that YouTube actually notifies you the next time that I upload. And thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.